Lord of the Mysteries. Chapter 1082. Sudden Turn of Events. 160 Barrio Clun Street, inside Dwayne Dantes' mansion. After teleporting back, Klein didn't delay at all. He immediately set up an altar and held a ritual to pray to death. You are the essence of death. You are the Lord of the dead. You are the final home to all living beings. I pray for your help. I pray that you will know how to resolve the problem of the Red Angel evil spirit. He has possessed the body of a gatekeeper and is cooperating with the numinous episcopate's high priest, Hater. He has come to Backland and been made an assistant to Patrick Bryan. With regard to this matter, there was really no choice but to seek help from the Evernight goddess. Ignoring the possibility of seeking out the ascetic leader, Ariana, in a cooperation effort, or whether he had the ability to finish off Sauron Einhorn Medici, even if he could, once the Red Angel evil spirit disappeared, the numinous episcopate's artificial death faction's high priest would immediately understand that something major had happened here. He could then connect it to other abnormalities and determine that there was something wrong with artificial death's condition. Then, using his own level and status, possible sealed artifacts, and his familiarity with the pathway, he might be able to create mutually harmful acts of destruction. And if he ignored the Red Angel, this evil spirit who was a conspirer wouldn't take long to detect something abnormal with Patrick Bryan. With his knowledge and intelligence, it wasn't difficult to guess the nature of the problem. No matter how I deal with it, it'll be a problem. As expected of an angel in the war domain. Even if he is a 3-in-1 spirit body, he can still create unresolvable problems for others. This must have actually been an idea that he gave Hater. Actually, I do have an extreme idea. That is to let the Red Angel evil spirit be killed by other churches, official organizations, or secret organizations for another whole different matter. In short, anything related to the goddess cannot come center stage. Things must be made very clear. The difficulty with this approach is how to let an extremely experienced, high-ranking member of the conspiring domain fall into a trap. If I don't handle it well, it might backfire on me. After the prayer ended, Klein casually let his thoughts wander as he waited patiently for the Evernight goddess to give him a response. After more than 10 seconds, the herbal dregs that pleased the deity were swept up by an invisible wind. They flew out and landed on the table, forming words. His coming spells the raising of arms. What does that mean? Looking at the sentence that gave him a sense of déjà vu, he frowned slightly. As a seer, he habitually interpreted it. Due to the king's problem, Lone has fallen into the shadows of war. Hence, the Red Angel that symbolizes war came. This means that it might no longer be possible to stop the war. Upon reaching sequence 1, one would become a symbol of certain phenomena. As these thoughts flashed through Klein's mind, the invisible wind came to a stop. The altar, which was completely isolated by the wall of spirituality, turned extremely silent. There are no other revelations? After waiting for a while, Klein confirmed that this was all, so he ended the ritual and cleared the altar. He then walked to the sofa in the room and sat down to see if anything else would happen. After a full 15 minutes, he didn't usher in the arrival of the matron of the Evernight cloister, the leader of the 13 archbishops, Angel of Concealment, Ariana. I don't have to deal with the Red Angel evil spirit, and I should just leave him be? Or there's another solution, but my involvement isn't needed? In essence, he wasn't a devout believer of Evernight. Since the goddess said that he didn't need to bother about it, he naturally couldn't be bothered to do so. After all, this matter was not only extremely troublesome for him, but it was also extremely dangerous. Shaking his head, Klein took out a pen and paper from his pocket and began a dream divination. What had happened tonight made him feel that he couldn't waste any time. He had to digest the Bizarro sorcerer potion as soon as possible. Above the fog sea, inside a steam-powered merchant ship that was extremely close to a pirate ship. One by one, the men and older women were tied up and pushed to the edge of the deck. Then, the pirates either used their hands or legs to throw them into the sea. The splashing sounds didn't affect the pirates at all, guffawing over this bloodless massacre. After clearing the captives, they carried their guns and lanterns to the shipboard, preparing to enjoy the pitiful bugs struggling. However, under the light, the dark blue sea beside the boat quietly undulated. No one was there. They sank so quickly. A pirate blurted out in surprise. The leader of this pirate crew frowned. After looking at it for a while, he said, "Perhaps some sea monsters passed by and treated those who dared resist us as food bestowed by the gods. Perfect timing. If we feed it, it won't attack us." Upon saying this, the leader waved his hand. "Everyone, enjoy yourselves!" As a fairly experienced pirate, he knew that there were many strange things at sea. It was best not to seek out the reason and try to figure out the truth. Since it didn't harm him or his crew, he would thank the Lord of Storms for his blessings, doing so as though nothing had happened. After making sure that there were people on duty, the pirates began gulping down copious amounts of alcohol, ate huge chunks of meat, and sang loudly, and fought for the rights to the young female captives. In the noisy and lively atmosphere, the pirate leader led a beautiful passenger that he had long taken a liking to into the captain's room. He eagerly began the final process for that night of revelry. In the middle of the night, the tired pirate leader stretched out his right hand and touched something cold. He jolted awake. Through the crimson moonlight shining through the window, he saw a piece of coarse wood in his arms. A series of branches with green leaves grew out from the wooden block, hugging him like a human's limbs. "Pa!" The pirate leader's pupils rapidly dilated. As he pushed away the wood, jumped off the bed, and stumbled back. Was I with such a thing previously? His mind was filled with terror. He couldn't care less about his clothes, picking up a flintlock and cutlass before leaving the room immediately. Outside, there was a pirate on duty. "How can I be happy to steal your ear?" When the pirate saw his leader open the door, he quickly asked. The pirate leader had originally wanted to chide the other party for secretly drinking, resulting in his incoherence. However, when he looked up, he saw that his subordinate's mouth and his surroundings were filled with golden grains. Even the surface of his tongue was covered in dense clusters. The pirate leader's scalp tightened as he felt a numbing chill run down his spine. At this moment, the door across the corridor opened as well. A pirate shouted with a sobbing tone, "Oh no! Boss, I have a lot of mushrooms growing there." As he spoke, the pirate ran out. At the same time, he felt his eyes itch. He raised his hand and rubbed his right eye. As he rubbed his eyes, a green vine slowly grew out from the gaps between his eye socket and his eyeball. There was a dark red grape at the end of it. The flesh around the grape was a blur. The pirate leader's body froze when he saw this. He asked in a voice that didn't belong to him, "What did you guys encounter?" While rubbing his eye, the pirates who didn't notice the problem said without any recollection, "A pole-like shadow struck me. W. You." The pirate whose tongue was covered in golden wheat echoed. He was blocked by his leader and didn't see his fellow crew members' terrifying appearance. The pirate leader's legs began to shake uncontrollably. He instinctively turned around and ran out of the cabin. At this moment, he saw a long wall that looked like a shadow from a pole rapidly sweep towards him before lashing out at him. The shadow flashed and soon disappeared. It was as though it was a surreal nightmare. The pirate leader was just a beat slower before he subconsciously raised his hand to block. This was obviously not effective. Then, he looked at himself in panic and didn't find anything unusual. Thankfully, the pirate leader couldn't help but let out a sigh. Before he could finish, he suddenly heard a slightly muffled voice. Thankfully. This voice seemed to come from his body. The pirate leader's pupils dilated to the extreme as he involuntarily lifted up his clothes. He then saw 3 cracks appear between his chest, 1 big, 2 small. 2 rows of white teeth were neatly arranged in the large crack, and in the middle of the small crack were 2 lively and nimble eyeballs embedded in them. It was a mouth and 2 eyes. The pirate leader had a mouth and 2 eyes on his chest. "No!" A scream rang out from the boat, filled with indescribable terror. In the next 15 minutes, some of the pirates went mad and killed their companions. Some successfully escaped back to their own ship, only to discover that the people on it had also turned mutated. Hence, they jumped into the sea in despair. By the time everything calmed down, there were only about 10 normal pirates slumped on the deck and hiding in their rooms. There was a stench around them. After a while, passengers came out of the cabin one after another. They looked at the scene in front of them in disbelief. They either thanked the gods or stood there in a daze. It was early in the morning. Klein got out of bed and began to wash up. Just as he was changing his clothes with the help of his valet, Anuni, he saw butler Walter, who had just returned from a leave of absence, walk to the door and say, "Sir Bishop Electra is here to pay a visit. Let him wait for me in the activity room where he can enjoy a cigar." Klein hesitated for a moment before saying. He suspected that this was a late response from the goddess. Walter immediately turned around and went downstairs to make the arrangements. Before long, he returned and said, "Sir Bishop Electra has already bade farewell and left. He wanted me to tell you that you must go to St. Samuel Cathedral in the morning. He said that the church and the government are going to hold an air raid drill together." "Air raid drill?" Klein frowned. At that moment, his spiritual perception was triggered. He turned around and looked out the window. In the air, there were rows of dark brown-colored airships approaching. These airships had slanted patterns of red, white, and yellow emblems. This was the flag of Faysac. Upon seeing this scene, Klein suddenly understood what he had overlooked. War might not be initiated by the Lone Kingdom. An ancient and hidden organization definitely had very high-ranking members in other countries. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been able to affect the world's situation.